Greetings, my subscribers, as well my newest subscribers. Thank you all for coming. Now, for today, I'm going to demonstrate to you how I prepare my delicious breakfast, and that would have been some steamed callaloo with cooked food. And the cooked food would have been dumpling, yam, and sweet potato. Now, guys, this demonstration is worthwhile watching. You don't want to miss it, so stay tuned, and I'll be right back. Tuning in. So here I have a lovely bag of callaloo right here, right? Now I'm gonna prepare some callaloo and saltfish with cooked food, and that will be for breakfast this morning. So what I'm gonna do is to, take the callaloo from the bag and then clean it up, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna show you the saltfish in the container. So here's the saltfish in the container, and the saltfish is been soaked. Right, I'm not gonna cook it. Right, I'm gonna soak it. You know what I mean? And then when it's soaked, I'm gonna clean it up. All right. So just stay tuned, and you'll see and how I get things done while I'm in the kitchen. All right. So here in the bowl, I have some flour with some cornmeal. Right. Now I'm gonna use my spoon to give it a stir. Right. Okay, you wanna make sure that the flour and cornmeal is combined. Right. Before you can go ahead and start the mixing process. You have to ensure it's properly mixed, and that's just how it is, right? Now, if you want to use your hand, you can go ahead and use your hand, but I could not use mine. I don't like my hands are too messy, especially when I'm kneading the flour, right? I like to use my spoon. Yeah, less mess for me. But all right, so it's not properly stir. So what I'm gonna do now is to pour some water in. Now bear in mind, in the middle, I made a sink, right? So the water will settle right there. Then I'm gonna go ahead now and add the flour and then start to mix. Now, this is how I mix the dough, right? I like to make sure I use a little bit of water. Then I go ahead and just use a little bit more, because then I don't want to, add too much water, because adding too much water, you can eventually spoil the whole mixture. So, you have to be cautious on how you use the amount of water to mix the dough, right? So it's an easy step, you know what I mean? There's nothing to it. But notice, it's nothing too hard, Just make sure that you add a little water, then you mix, then add a little water, then you mix. You don't want to spoil the mixture, right? Can't spoil the mixture. Now, what if it's the last of the flour that you have and the cornmeal, right? Now, what happens when you spoil it? Then what? It's gonna be a waste, right? So you don't wanna do that. So you just wanna add a little water, then you mix, then add a little more water, then you mix, and that way you won't spoil the whole mixture. So what I'm gonna do now is to, scoop the balance of flour to the side here, right? And then I'm gonna add some water to it. Add some more again. As I said before, I'm taking precautions and when I mix the water with the flour, right? Because I don't want to spoil it. So I'm now combining everything together. I will put my hands in shortly. I just want to make sure, everything is combined properly in a sense. Then I'll just go ahead and just use my hand to finish it. All right, I can do it now. So let me just clean out the spoon. Now you see, the thing about this, guys, is that you can use your hand if you want to, but this I choose not to. Why? Because I don't like when my hands are messy with the flour. You know what I mean? So I choose to use a spoon. So right now, I'm just ensuring that it's properly mixed, right? Now when you're needing flour, it takes a little while, so you have to have patience to really knead it and to get how you need it. Now I'm gonna scrape on the side, so nothing is gonna remain in the bowl here. I'm just scraping on the side. Then I'm gonna continue mix the dough until everything is combined together. Now there's some in the middle here. Just gonna scrape that out. As you can see, the dough is getting there. Just gonna continue this for at least another minute or two, and then I'm good to go. All right. Alright, so that's about it. So what I'm gonna do now is to wait until the water comes to a boil before I can start to make the dumplings and put them in the pot. So stay tuned. Alright, so the water is now coming to a boil. So I'm gonna begin the process of making my dumplings. Okay, so it is. That's dumpling number one. Turn on the fire some more. I don't want it too high. Okay, so they are dumpling number two. Now this is just how I make my dumplings, you know what I mean? Now it doesn't really matter how you make your dumplings, so long as it turn out what you need it to be, that's exactly how it is, you know what I mean? Because some people do it differently, but I do mine, in a certain kind of way, you know what I mean, to make them turn out this way. You see them? And I don't like my dumplings are too big, like when they're neat, You know what I mean? Here, real. Not too big, because this is not a construction site. This is home cooked meal, you know what I mean? Yeah, so just keep on tuning while I continue to make the rest of the dumplings. Alright, so all the dumplings are made and placed within the pot, as you can see. So what I'm gonna do next is to peel the yam and the sweet potato. So just stay tuned. Alright, so I'm going to now cut the yam into reasonable sizes. I'm just gonna cook in 3 pieces of yam, right? I'm gonna peel them. Now when peeling the yam, you wanna make sure that you don't allow your skin to touch it, right? I'm talking about the yam should not touch your skin, because if it does get your skin, it's gonna scratch you. So try to avoid that from happening, right? Now when peeling yam, I'm going to place them in a container of water, right? Now that way, you know, because you know the yam, outer layer of the yam, the outer layer of the yam is dirty. So you just want to make sure that you have some water in a container. That way you can wash them off, right? Now I'm going to show you what I mean. You see, even though I peel it, look at it, you see? Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Peel this piece here. So there you have it. Now I'm going to wash them off and then put them in a pot. Stay tuned. This is what the yams are looking like after they were washed, alright? So I'm going to put them in a pot now. So after put the yams in the pot, I'm gonna go ahead and cut me a piece of sweet potato, right? Sweet potato right here. So I'm sizing it up to figure out how I'm gonna cut this, or where or what part of it I need. Alright, so I'm going to probably cut it in half like so. Well, not half, but almost half. I'm using my small knife. So it's probably kind of challenging because it's a small knife I'm using. Yeah, right? So after cut that in half, then I'm going to cut this piece here, not this piece, because this piece is bigger. So I'm going to cut this piece, or should I say peel it, then cut it in two. Now potato is kind of hard to peel, so you have to be mindful on how you do it, because the knife can slip and cut you, so you have to be mindful, all right? Up here, have this area here as well. You have here. I'll just continue to peel it. No, I did not put any salt in the pot as yet, because you know normally I put the salt only in the pot. I don't put the salt when I'm mixing the dough. I don't put salt in it. Yeah, you know, I don't want to consume too much salt. So the best thing to do is to add salt within the pot and not with the dough. So I'm just trying to clear out this area here. Yeah, you know, these area here are part of the skin, so I'm gonna try to clear them out. I don't need those, right, to be here. So Alright, so what I'm gonna do now is to rinse it off and then add it to the pot. So you want to make sure you rinse it out thoroughly, you know, because you know the outer layer of it was dirty, so you know you want to make sure it's properly washed, right? So when it's properly washed, then you can just go ahead and just cut it in half, or should I say quarter, because it was cut in half in a sense, you know what I mean? And I'm just going to cut it again. I don't like when they're big and chunky, you know. I like when they're cut to a reasonable size. So I'll just cut it. Let me see. I'll just cut it this way. Alright, like so. Then I'm gonna add them to the pot. Alright, so after adding the yam and the sweet potato to the pot, you know, everything a bubble, you know what I mean? So the next thing to do is to add some salt, right? So I'm gonna add some salt. And this salt I'm adding is just for taste, right? Just for taste and taste only. So I'm gonna clean up this area here. So they stay tuned until I return. Alright, so while the food are going to cook, I'm going to attend to the callaloo now. So I'm just going to take the callaloo from the bag, like so. Rest them on the table. Take the leaves and put aside. So I'm going to now pick out the callaloo. You know they are together, so I'm gonna single take them apart, right? And then I'm gonna begin the process by peeling them like so, right? That's how you peel it. So when I get that skin off the stem, you know, like peeling it, yeah. And just make sure that you take out all these, you know. You wanna cut these out as well. You have some eyes. So we're gonna cut out this area here. We don't need that. And just make sure you thoroughly check it to make sure that you pick it properly. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna continue to skin it. You just use a knife and cut the side. Slightly cut the side. Slightly cut it and you peel. Right? Cause you're trying to get rid of the you know, you're trying to get rid of these. Right? You're trying to get rid of these. So that's what you do. Alright, so after doing so, what I'll do is just to inspect it, right? I know I don't want no bad leaves in here, so what I'm doing is just inspect it, and then I'm going to put them into my bowl, right? So I put them in the bowl, across on right there, as I'm inspect it. And on to the next one, same procedure. Cut and skin, and this is what I'm talking about. These has to remove. You know what I mean? It has to remove, right? So you cut and skin. Now some of these leaves may fall off. What you can actually do is to put them aside because they're okay to use. So cut and skin, just ensure it's properly cleaned up, right? Now there's a bad leaf here, so I'm just gonna snap that off. Okay, no, we don't want that, right? And there's another one here as well. So I mentioned before, you have to be mindful on what you do. So you have to go through and inspect it thoroughly. Okay, you know we don't want a bad leaf in it, right? Right, and here's another one right here as well. So cut that off. And there's another one here. Cut that off, right? Then we're gonna go up to the top now, and we're gonna cut out here. We don't need this. Cut that out. Alright, and I'm gonna continue to skin it. there you have it. So I'm just gonna continue with the rest of the callaloo until I'm actually through skinning the callaloo. All right. This is skin it or clean up it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's just how we get it. That's how we get it done. Now, everyone do their thing differently, but this is just how I get my one done. Right? All right. So let's go through and just clean up in this area here. We don't want no seeds or anything on the side. Put it in the pot. So the food are going in a bag of things, guys. The food are going in a bag of things from the frame there, And that's why I'm seeing the callaloo for last, because the callaloo is something easy to cook, so I'm gonna save that for last while me get other things done. Yeah, because the callaloo is easy cooking, so the food first is my number one priority, right? Get that out of the way, and then we can attend to the callaloo. Cut the seeds out, and check the leaves and ensure the leaves are okay. If there's any leaves that is bad and you're like, insect biting it up, then you want to remove it, alright? Because you don't want that in it. Now, some of them may be big, so what you can actually do, you can slit it down the middle, right? But I'll do so when I'm through peeling the callaloo, right? I'll do so when I'm through. So these skin here, these are what has to be removed, right? Have to remove them, Got to remove them. And then you can actually go ahead now and do a thorough check. Cut out the seed from the top. We don't want the seed, right? So we cut the seed out and we just do a thorough check just to ensure the leaves are okay. Alright, let me just put them in a bowl next to me. I have around 3 more stalks remaining, and I'm trying to do this snappy. Alright, so let's still peeling. Peel it, ensure that they properly peel properly. Cut out the eye or the bad leaf right here, cut that out. Put that in a bowl as well. Alright, so this is just the process of how I get the callaloo cut up. You know. No, I don't cut them too big, you know what I mean? I like when they're cut to a reasonable size. Now, some folks may probably hold the callaloo in their hand and cut it up, but you know, for me, I like to use my cutting board. I rather use my cutting board than to hold it in my hand and cut up it. So when you cut up, you want to make sure that you get a good grip, you know what I mean? So you try to hold everything together and then cut them up. Right? Hold everything together. So when the rice falling out of place, you can just stop, hold it, and just, you know, put them back together again. But you know what? Don't watch these leaves; they're gonna be cut up. So that's just how it goes. You know what I mean? When I cut up callaloo, they just. Now I have some leaves that I right here that were not cut up properly, so I'm just gonna restock them back, you know, in my hand, and some that are on the side here that I put aside. So I'm just gonna blend these here and then just cut them. So remember, you know, some greens me I look about, you know, some greens, you know what I mean? Yeah man, some greens with saltfish. Alright, so I'm going to now put these in the bowl across from me. Just have some more leaves that are right here. Now you see, the thing about it is that you see, whenever they start too long, you know, you intend to cut piece off, right? So these are the pieces that I cut off the stalk, you know, I make it a little too long, along with some leaves that I have here. So I'm just going to cut up these. Okay, nothing goes to waste. So the only thing that goes to waste is what's not good, right? But I don't just dispose of things, you know, just so it has to be in a bad state for me to dispose of for me to dispose of it. just put these leaves in here. So anything that is not properly cut up, you can just go ahead and just grab it again and just, you know, continue the process. Right? Because you want to get it, you want to ensure that your callaloo is properly cut up. You know what I mean? And that's so to get it done. Now, it's not challenging trying to get it done. You know what I mean? It just takes time. You know, when you cut up cabbage, it's totally different from this. You know, this takes more time than when you're cutting up a cabbage. You know, a cabbage is like 1-2, you know, once you cut out the core, peel the skins off of it, you know, and, you know, peel the core, peel the skins off, and you just cut it up. It's as simple as that. All right, so just stay tuned until stay tuned until all right, so here's the callaloo nicely cut up. So what I'm gonna do now is to sprinkle some salt on it, right? Now the salt is to wash it, right? So I'm gonna sprinkle some salt on it and then take some water and then wash it, right? Now, the thing is, you know, you see, it may have bugs and so forth in it, you know what I mean? So when you use the salt to wash it get rid of the bugs. If any should be in here, you know what I mean? It could be slug or it could be, you know, the six-legged bugs. So if there's any, the salt will definitely get rid of them, all right? So just stay tuned while I get the greens washed. So we call it callaloo, we call it greens, all right? So my greens is nicely washed. So what I'm gonna do is to scrape out the callaloo or the greens into the pot right here before me, all right? I'm gonna scrape it out. So after scraping it out, I'm gonna put it aside and get all my seasonings, all right? So stay tuned. Okay, so seasoned, cut up and ready. So here we have some tomato, we have garlic, we have onion, we have scotch bonnet pepper, we have sweet pepper, all right? I don't have no time, the time was finished. So that's just about it, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna go ahead now and work on the saltfish, all right? So let's move this and tend to the saltfish right here in the bowl. So I'm going to now just use my small knife and pick up, you know, clean off the scales from off the saltfish. Like I said before, we just soak it, right? So, you know, soaking it helps to reduce some of the salt from it. However, I don't want to reduce too much of the salt. I want to have some of the salt remaining because, you know, the saltfish is going to also help to season the callaloo, right, that I'm preparing, or the greens. You know, some people call it callaloo, some people call it callaloo, some people call it greens. You know, it really make a difference, right? Because the thing about it is that we know what we're talking about, right? We're talking about the same thing. So if you want to call it callaloo, or if you want to call it greens, it's okay. So long as we're talking about the same thing, that's okay. You know what I mean? All right, so I'm just trying to clean up as best as I can, because I know there are bones and support in it, so you want to get rid of those, right? And I don't need too much saltfish, right? Because as I mentioned before, there's some green smell about, but the thing about it is that I need a flavor from the saltfish, right? So that's why I'm using it. Right, and this is the last of the saltfish that I did cut up. I did a video on that when I was actually cutting up the saltfish. So this is the last of it. Of that batch, I have more saltfish in the fridge, but I'm just saying that this is the last of that set, right? So I'm going to rinse it off now in the water, right? And I'm going to pick them up small, and then I'm gonna add them to the pot with the callaloo. Now bear in mind the seasons are not added as yet. I just wanted to get the pick up saltfish out of the way. So I'm gonna get my container. And the container is what I'm gonna use to put the saltfish in when I pick you up, alright? So I'm gonna go ahead now and start the process. Now, it depends, on how you want to pick them up. You know what I mean? Because, some people like to do it fine, some people like to do it big. But for me, I don't like when it's too big. I like when it's small, And you have to be mindful of the bones that is in here, so you have to pick them out too. We don't want the bones to stop at our throat. Because, it will be difficult to get out. So, we have to be mindful of the bone that is in the saltfish, right? So this is the ears part. This is the ears part of the, the fish, saltfish itself. Alright. That's going to work on the next piece now. So this is the skin. I don't need the skin on it. I just need the saltfish itself. Gotta pick out those bones. Then try to, because the silly thing about it is because it's not cooked, so it's kind of hard to remove. Sometimes even hard to pick up, so it just takes some time. So you have to just bear with me while I, get this thing all sorted out. So I'm slowly but surely getting there, right? I'm almost complete. I'm just gonna see if I can get some more saltfish on the spoon, which I am. Alright, and that's about it. Alright, so I'm going to now add my saltfish to the callaloo, but I'm going to check on the food part, so stay tuned. Guys, as you can see, the food are going a bag of things, you know what I mean? So some dumpling and yam and sweet potato. The yam and so I'm going to give this approximately 15 minutes or so to finish cook. So just stay tuned while I work on the greens, alright? So the greens on the stove, so I'm just gonna add the saltfish to it, right? And like I said before, the saltfish just for flavor, right? So it don't really matter how you grade them, it's just for flavor, but for me, I don't like them too big, So after adding the saltfish, I'm gonna go ahead now and add in the seasoning, right? Yeah, adding the seasonings. Then I'm going to add some butter as well. Okay, you don't see that with some butter, that right? I don't steam my greens in oil. I use alcohol butter, you know. I don't want it to add no salt either, because you know the butter has salt and the saltfish itself, you know, has salt on it. So I don't need to add no additional salt. Furthermore, we did wash the greens in salt water. Why? Because in case there may be insects also in it, you know, washing it with the salt will get rid of them. Alright, so I'm going to now light the stove, alright? Alright, I'm gonna turn it down. I'm gonna give it some time, you know, before it comes to a slow steam, you know what I mean? Then I'm gonna give it a stir. Because remember, you know, it's greens, right? And you don't want no high flame beneath it, so just allow it to steam. So as soon as it starts to steam, then I'll come and I just stir it and just ensure that everything is cooperated, right? As I mean the seasoning with the saltfish and the greens. So stay tuned until, you know, it starts to steam. Alright, so the steaming process has started. So what I'm gonna do now is to give it a stir. You know, I want to make sure that everything is cooperated. So I'm gonna put the cover on that side, and then I'm going to give it a stir. Now, I don't like when the greens is fully covered. You know, the pot is fully covered, because if it's fully covered, what's gonna happen is that it's gonna have too much water. You don't want too much water when you're steaming the veg. You know. So the greens, the veg, the callaloo has to be not fully covered, but covered in a sense to cook, but not to be too watery, right? You don't want too much water. If it's covered fully, you're gonna have water in it, and you don't want that, right? So give it a good stir just to make sure that everything is cooperated. The seasoning with the greens and the carrot, you know what I mean? Just so I make sure everything is properly coated, properly combined together to my soup. Alright, so I'm just going to allow it to steam until complete. Alright, so I'm going to give it a check again. As I said before, if I notice the pot is not fully covered, because I don't want to spring too much water, right? So I'm gonna go in now and you know, give it a stir, just to make sure that what's on top goes to the bottom, right? Okay, I want to make sure it properly steam. So you have to give it a nice stir. Guys, you want to smell the essence that is coming from the pot here. My God, the green smells so good. I can't wait. It's almost time to have my meal, but I'm gonna wait until it's finished cooked, right? Guys, it's like what I'm trying to show you. What I say bona fide is that based on how I feel right now, I'm hungry and I can't wait, but it takes time to cook, so you have to give it enough time to prepare, alright? So just stay tuned until it's through. Alright, so the callaloo is about to finish steam, so I'm going to turn the flame off. Alright, so I'm going to turn the flame off. Now I'm going to give it a taste, you know what I mean? Now it's kind of hot, but do not do this at home. As for me, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing it a taste. Yeah, man. That's it right there. That's about it right there. Alright, so see that. Some cook food right there, so. So in the pot here we have some dumpling, yam and sweet potato. And across here we have some greens, aka callaloo. So see it there. I tell us, guys, the aroma is kicking, and I am hungry. I am going to dive into this. Yeah, so this is a breakfast settings, you know. Some cooked greens with some food, you know. Yeah, man, I say things. All right, so see the breakfast is now ready. So here we have some cooked dumplings, yam, sweet potato, and some greens. You know what I mean? Some greens right there. So this is it. This is gonna be a healthy breakfast, guys, and healthy breakfast. Guys, I do enjoy the love and support. Now, if you had made it this far to my video, thank you for watching.